Well, I've been working on an early front crank HMV 101. I guess this would be around late 26, early 27 sometime. You can see the crank in the front there, and eventually that crank ends up on the side, angled upward. The reason for that being, as you can see, if you have to crank this, you must hang it over a table a little bit, otherwise your knuckles will bang the tabletop. Kind of a long crank. Takes about 27 winds to fully wind the spring on this one. It's not a big spring. This uses the same motor carried over from the HMV 100. All they did was really shave a piece of the bottom plate off the motor so that they can clear the internal horn of the 101. I found this on an auction site simply labeled HMV 101 needs service. Wonder what that service could be. Sure enough, when I get it here, the motor is essentially a solid. The grease, which was vegetable-based, possibly even whale oil-based in those days, bakes so solidly when a machine hasn't been used in, I don't know, 70, 80 years, it just turns to cement. So I've been working on this for about 6 days, and the motor is finally cleaned and reassembled and back in the machine. And I'm just doing a motor test at the moment. I haven't rebuilt the reproducer yet. This came with an all brass. Of course, these early models always have the all brass reproducer, the number 4 reproducer. These were the ones that say his master's voice right through the front of it. You can see it right through the diaphragm. But that has yet to be rebuilt. And for the moment, I'm using my test reproducer. And there are some, obviously no auto brake on these models. This is an early model. This one has a dealer tag on it. It is, see if I can actually read that. It's so small. William Borthwick and Company, Cockburn Street, Edinburgh. All right. Not sure where that is, but I'm sure it's not in existence today, I'm sure. And we have a Brunswick record on there, Look Up and Smile. I can barely, they put tape over it, so it's hard to read. The Park Lane Orchestra with vocal chorus. They don't say who the vocal chorus is, but... And it's in basic black, as most of these were. They had colored machines too, but basic black with the HMV 101's very nice wood motor board in there. And, it's similar to the later 101s, except, of course, for the motor changed to the number 59 motor eventually. And the last version of the 101 shared a motor with the 102. Now, there's some things I haven't gotten to yet, obviously, other than the reproducer. I don't have any handles for this yet. I need one for the HMV 101 also. Those will be ordered later on. And as you can see or not see, I'm not sure if that shows up on the camera, but there's no clips for the crank, which attaches right in here. Eventually, when they put the auto brake, that would move back here, or first over here, then back here. But the first version is here, behind the turntable. And it uses those clips, and as you can see, all 3 are broken. It takes talent, but someone managed it. I'll source those eventually. They use the same clips for the later 101s that had the crank there where you see the name tag. And other than that, I mean, obviously these change. This is similar in style to the 100, but not exactly the same. It's larger, and it locks. There's the 101 under the table. They're very similar. The 100s is a little bit smaller, and on the 101 they went slightly larger. And they've changed it. Eventually it becomes the same square one you'll find on the 102. It's a couple different sizes there too. Small changes. They were always modifying things, just like the Victor Company did. When something better came along, there was a better idea, they could produce it quicker, easier, cheaper, and it worked, or just worked better. They would change the design a little bit right there on the assembly line. Once the old parts were used up, they would start using the new. Okay, let's play a record and see if the motor can plow through it. Although this is a pretty clean record, I don't have any really nasty ones here at the moment, but this will do. All I'm really doing is spinning up the motor and just distributing the grease in the spring barrel and on the gears. I've already played 4 or 5 records. It's been good so far.
look up and smile. Though bygone years brought bitter tears, just look up and smile. Smiles are in style. Into each life some raindrops must fall. The sun, you know, can shine for us all. Just cry, don't cry, it's not worth a while. Just smile, look up and smile.
And there you go. Motor's spinning up strong. You never really know with these motors because they have a small spring. They're not as strong as the number 59 and the later HMV 102 motors are, which had longer springs. Even they could be a little weak sometimes. They weren't designed to be a big console machine or a tabletop, large tabletop, but had much larger springs, and you would wind it once and play 2 or 3 records or whatever. These are meant to be wound as you go. You play a record, change the needle, wind it up, play another, change the needle, wind it up, play another. That's how you did it. You know, it was a portable machine. It wasn't made to take the place of its larger cousins there. But this one's functioning well. I was a little worried because it has the original spring, and sometimes they can be weak. If they're too weak, they won't push through a record, so especially when they're this old. But this one does. Actually got lucky with the HMV 100 also. That one was that the original spring? I think it was. But anyway, that one pushed through as well. And that was it, and there's no surprises in here. You know, it was exactly what I expected. Motor locked up from just ancient, nasty lubricants in there, acting as a glue, which is typical. You know, reproducer needs all the normal gaskets and such. That's, you know, expected. Case is in good shape, cover's in good shape. Nothing, well, there are the broken clips and the normal broken handle, or rotted away handle, I would think. But nothing shocking in there, nothing that needed to be replaced, like a broken spring or a busted up governor or anything like that. Going by the condition of the gears and the lack of any perceivable wear on them, I'm going to say this machine did not see a whole lot of use in its day, which is surprising considering these were expensive toys. You know, these were not something you bought at the 5 and 10 store. These were expensive. Top of the line machines. And not to use it much is kind of surprising, sort of a waste. You know, a lot of people, this was their only phonograph. They didn't bother with the big machine because they had this, and they'd put it out on the table and play records when they wanted. But whoever had this one didn't, so that's nice. You know, I didn't have to worry about buggered up gears in there or excessive wear anywhere or anything like that. It was good. And there you go. There's a look at the early front crank Model 101. You'll see this one again eventually when I finally get around to rebuilding the reproducer, because at the moment I'm a little busy working on the Swiss machines over there. They're almost ready for their videos. And I have some other machines coming in less than a week that are going to be a little different. So we'll get to those. And that's that. The front crank 101. And these machines, by the way, are somewhat rare. They didn't make them for very long before going to the side crank. Not nearly as rare as an HMV 100, but still, if you happen to see one, grab it. Even if it says it needs service. Definitely every 101 collection should have one.